Yeah.
So then running out. Anyway, but they're like so. This morning it calls.
What makes her feel better?
Yes, I do.
No, you can sit anywhere,
On
buddy.
vacation.
No.
I would ask how Greece was, but I didn't see.
It was great, except.
Except.
The 4 days.
Sharon?
Hospital. No, Michael, how are you? Have a few.
In September? Yeah, in order to not lower your dock.
Huh?
Yeah, in order to not lower your dock.
You're not weird. They'll probably
Went up
start.
and measured your boat's top sides.
Yeah.
Your deck lines.
That's what they tell
right
us.
on top of that dock.
I'm not sure.
I think I was leaving. Actually, I think that was leaving.
Alrighty then, it is 4 o'clock. Time to commence today's meeting of the Harbor Commission. Victor, are you acting secretary today?
Maybe just should I share?
Can you get a second to take the roll?
Yes, I can. All right, Bill Brown. Bill McCullough,
Here.
Kathy Macho,
Here.
Sharon Mahalik,
Here.
and John Baker.
Here.
We do have a quorum, even though we have 10 members, our bylaws state that 5 is a quorum for Harbor Commission, so.
That much. Alrighty. Let's see, I'm gonna start off with a couple of comments. I want to, submit a resolution of thanks and appreciation, composed by Chairman Bartlett, to both Laura Coors and Tom Graham Jr., who served many hours and did yeoman work for many years. I'd like these to be adopted. I can read them in their entirety if you like, but they both basically say unflinching focus on quality, integrity, customer service and all that. Therefore, on behalf of all of us, we want to tender to Laura and Tom appreciation for their labors and wish them well in their future endeavors. So we get a consensus that on that. Okay, I think that's fine.
Absolutely.
For sure. There we go.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome Sharon,
Thank you.
our new member. Do you want to just say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Introduce yourself a little bit.
I'm Sharon Mahalik. I have, Harbor Springs has been at least mentally home since I was in my teens. And we've owned property here since, my family's owned property here since the 80s. My husband and I since the 90s, thanks to John Baker. This is our full-time home since 2012. I'm a lifetime boater. We have 2 boats. We share a Nunsuch, 30-foot Nunsuch called Concerto with Fred Reswicks. And we have Moonlight, which is a 40-foot Tiara, which is down at the city dock, slip number 32, so come say hi. And we love boating on the Great Lakes. We've cruised everywhere. And I'm very proud and thrilled to call Harbor Springs my home and now to have the honor to serve on the Harbor Commission. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Thanks. First order of business tonight is, today is the approval of the meeting minutes from October 11th. Did anybody have any comments, corrections?
I move there to accept it as presented.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. What's next there, Victor? I need to see the agenda there. Does anybody have a comment that they'd like to make on any topics not on the agenda? Perfect. All right, old business, Harbor Master Building Concept Update. This is merely an update. This is not, we're not making final approval. That is up to city council. So this is kind of a last chance go around for this board before it goes to council, who will hopefully put it out for bid. I'm gonna hand it over to Mark Boudet, who is our lead on this, designer, and take it away, Mark.
And for those of you on Zoom, Mark has a separate computer, so you won't be able to see, I won't be able to screen share, so I'm just gonna zoom in on our screen and hopefully that'll at least help a little bit so you can see what's going on, but yeah. So FYI. So you wanna press?
We have push this button again.
Yeah. Just give it a second. There you go.
Okay. Hello. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Bill and JB and ran through everything. Sort of like another sort of a preliminary review before it came back to you guys. Right now, the status is that the construction documents are done. We're waiting to go out for bid. Our plan is to send it out by the next 2 weeks. The start of construction will be September 9th. And construction completion will be May 15th. With staff and with JB and Bill, we came up with a couple incentives that we're going to give to the builders, make sure they get done on time. It's pretty critical, obviously, it has to be done. And so we're making sure that's built into the contract. Performance of the contract is very, very important. That was discussed pretty much at length. And it'll go out for bid probably through Northwestern Michigan bid. There's a shop down in Traverse City that puts out the bid statewide, and same, of course, will be posted out, by the city. So we should have a fair number of bids on this project. And I've talked to some commercial contractors I work with in Traverse City, and they're very interested in the project. And so there's good interest for it. So that's a very good thing for us. The project, it looks like this right now. I'm just gonna start on the outside, then I'll go inside, and we'll run through a quick review of the construction drawings. On the exterior, we've added more sidewalk. And as long as you're below 5% grade on these things, they're not considered a ramp. So you don't have to have handrails and height limitations and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So what we're able to do then is take out the old concrete that goes down to the asphalt, which is down here. It would come up to a flat area. Everything, I say flat, but it's still projecting, pitching 2%, so water runs off of it. But that is essentially almost flat. And then we will take out the steep ramp that's there now, and we'll be able to come right up to the landing that goes into this side of the office. You'll be able to come through this area here through this aisleway, which is the access to the public restrooms. Coming around here, we use this planter. You'll be able to sit on this planter. It's sort of like a planter seat. And that allows for another sidewalk to come up to the area here. And there'll be bike racks and things like that. We have a screen across the area here. And we do have some signage on the building for the public restrooms on this side. You saw it on the other side. On the boulder side, there will also be, I don't know why it's not showing it, but on the door, it does say boaters restrooms. And so so there's screening across this area here. We did add some heat in the slab where people would be coming up from the parking lot, because this is open year round. So as people come up from the parking lot, we added electric heat in the slab. We also added trench drains so that any melt water that comes off goes in the trench drains and goes away. They're heated so that there's no black ice or anything like that. And so it's a safe path for people to get up and use the bathrooms in the wintertime. Around this side of the building, the trash containers back here, you open these doors, it slides right out. The recycling guard is low enough so that people will be able to reach in and put recycling right into these containers. We'll chop out the asphalt here. So this will also become concrete pavement along this way. So that people come around the building, they'll be able to walk along here. No, it's meant as a sidewalk and then a step up here to go into this access to the new laundry room. We are replacing all of the sidewalks around the building so that they're new. We're going to have an option, an alternate, where we'll show them as either being concrete with fiberglass fabric in them for the structure, and that's sort of a standard rough commercial finish that you see on sidewalks everywhere. I'm also asking the contractors to provide a price as an alternate. We have a lightly washed exposed aggregate look. So it's a grade up from just the standard concrete finish. But that would be an alternate, so you can decide when bids come in, do you want to do it or not do it? There'd be a price. The difference is approximately $6 a square foot for a standard sidewalk versus 10 for one that has exposed aggregate. This side of the building, not much has happened, except for the new siding and everything like that. And then over here on this side, we still have the steps up on this side. We're not doing anything as far as the approach to here or ramping it or anything like that. On the inside, any questions on what I just showed you? Yes.
We start construction September 9th. Is Sabrina still gonna be able to operate as usual with the office space? And
No,
restrooms?
the whole roof is coming off that building. It will not be out.
I'm out of job September 9th? Just kidding.
I'm just curious about that.
We can get some late season boaters.
The thinking there is that we do not want to have the construction still going on come spring.
Right.
And the sooner we get started on the thing, the sooner it can be closed up, the sooner it all gets done. So that the following year, everything's ready to rock and roll when the season begins. So there will need to be some adaptation.
Okay.
But the entire site's gonna be like verboten for public starting. And we wanted to have a very specific start date, so it's not a negotiable thing. And kicking it around with JB and Mark, we decided that the 9th was the day.
Okay.
And we will send out letters and contact Warren and stakeholders so they can put notice at the Harbor Master Building that it's gonna be closed.
So that means no. So the public bathrooms will be
Yes,
closed.
I informed the DDA this morning that those bathrooms would be closed from fall through spring. So that's something else that we have to consider in the future of the winter time.
Taking the roof right off.
The interior of the building, this is the area of the addition, which is right here. Do you guys see my cursor okay, or do you want me to use the?
I think that'd be better.
Okay, I lost the cursor.
Okay, so this is the area. I'll try not to get Mike in the eyeballs with this. So these are the two, this is the addition, a men's restroom and a women's restroom. We have a gang sink, 4 fixtures each side, changing station, everything meets ADA, it's required. These are wall hung fixtures. There has to be a space in between them for the requirement for that type of fixture. So that's the addition. This, which is now the existing men's bathroom, that becomes a laundry facility. And there's 4 washers and 4 dryers in there along with a service sink. The women's bathroom becomes our new mechanical room. And then there was a door here, but we moved that wall back up here so that people can come in, the boaters can come in on both sides to use the restrooms. And they can flow through here if this office is closed, or if they don't want to walk all the way around here. It flows through here, they come down this way into the laundry room, and that way the office can be secured. This door and the other entry boaters doors would be the standard combination type lock things on them, all new. And that sort of like solves, I think, all of the circulation problems and allows access to a laundry facility for the boaters. Whether they come through the bathrooms or they come around the backside in this way, they have 2 options. And that's what was sort of discussed in the, I can't do 2 things at once, that'd be trouble. All the office and the men's restrooms and women's restrooms and associated showers, Those are all getting new fixtures, new wall tile. They're getting freshened up essentially so that they're the same quality as the new public bathrooms are. Let's see, what else was there inside here? Well, any questions on the plan? You know, we've looked at this before, but this is what it is. The construction documents, you know, this is sort of like the set that's going to be going out. You know, it sort of shows how the building is going to be laid out. And here you can see where originally there are 3 parking spaces here. Those we lose. This is still wide enough that you can drive a vehicle. This would be a 7-inch reinforced slab. You can drive a vehicle around here and get access to the docks. So we did not lose the accessibility to the waterfront. That was important to JB and you know, Lucas, and sometimes you have to get machine, you know, equipment back here for these transformers. So that worked out really quite well. Now this is just a standard schedule sheet. You know, this is just showing how the sidewalks work and all that kind of stuff. This is the plan that you've been looking at. All the ADA requirements, reflected ceiling plan. And then the exterior elevations are like this, where, you know, you saw that in the 3D model, but, you know, from the west side, you know, it's, you know, we have the screen on both sides. There's a fountain, drinking fountain here. They will also have, you know, bottle fillers on it and all that kind of stuff. So people can flow in and out of here. And we have this planter seat here because if a family member's inside, people can sit out here and wait and all that kind of stuff. And so it just sort of makes the space work a little bit better. It wasn't decided yet what we planted in this planter, but it'll be just designed so that it drains out and all that kind of thing, so that it functions correctly. On the east elevation, which we don't change very much, you know, we do have the new window into the laundry room, and I am showing all the new skylights which are up here. So we're bringing light into the building that will, I think, especially help with the existing bathrooms and showers. You know, bring some natural light in there. You know, new windows for the office. These are the doors into the existing voters facilities. You can see that in the drinking fountain and the flow through area to access the bathrooms. This, you know, we put the wording, the signage here on this gate. These are operable gates. And I guess the question to you, you know, we have text up in this area, but I felt, how much do you want to really advertise this is recycling? Kathy, I think you mentioned a while ago that you'd want to see some signage on this, you know, in the meeting 6 months ago, maybe not, maybe somebody else. So I don't know if this is enough. Do we want it on each of these things so it's very clear to the public this is recycling? Or do we just want, we could just put symbols on here, recycling symbols and not have words? You guys have an opinion on that?
I wouldn't want it to be like broadcast so that everybody in town goes, hey, look,
That's why,
there's recycling.
yeah, that's why I didn't put it up there.
It should be obvious
Yeah.
if you're standing there looking for the recycling, that's where it is.
Okay,
And I personally, I prefer words to symbols.
to the symbols, okay,
That's
all right.
just-
Let's
Agreed.
leave it as is, and we won't call out the container. You know, the sections through the building. You know, it's just, you know, it works like this where we have them all laid out. So reason we're taking, if you remember, the reason we're taking the whole roof off is that will allow access to the whole building. That's where all the HVAC goes. We have our trusses, we have chases within the trusses for all the ductwork to go. It's all laid out with the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. By my mechanical, electrical, and plumbing consultants. You can see how the skylights are going to work, you know, to bring a natural light into these interior spaces. And the building is no taller than the one that's there now. You know, then we have, you know, detailed wall sections and various other things that have to happen and how the building's put together. These are the interior elevations of the bathrooms here. You can sort of see here is the men's bathroom, I believe. Look to the south, we have a large mirror. We have two types of tile, two formats of tile. We have like 2x2s here, and then we have a larger format tile like this. I've specified as the basis of design, American Olean tile, a ceramic tile. It's really pretty straightforward. It's similar to what we use at the Irish Boat Shop. The floors are going to be self-leveling epoxy floors, and that will also go up and make a cove up to the tile level. And you can sort of see everything. We sort of tell the contractor where everything has to go. It's all pretty much laid out pretty accurately. In the laundry room, we have a stackable washer dryer here. We have a few lower ones here. And then we have, the service sink here, and the height of some of these things have to be at a certain place to meet ADA, which they do. And then the revised existing boaters, we use the same location for fixtures. We're not changing anything. These all stay floor mounted as the original ones are, but we are putting in new wall tiles, and there's new ceiling because the roof has come off anyway. So it's a good opportunity to freshen these up for the next 20, 30 years. Because 10 years from now, I suspect, it would have been wished that we had done it now, and I have to go through this process again. So we've got all new fixtures in here, new surfaces, but we're leaving the existing tile floor. We're not touching that. That would be a huge job to do. Just standard stuff, and then we'll get into, the structural requirements, framing requirements, and then we get into the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and it shows where everything has to go and everything is specified. We are going to try to use all electric in this building, have no gas going to the building, because the city is, of course, its own utility. And so we want to see what that would cost, but we're also going to have the alternate. So we'll see how much money you'd save if we just do the standard gas-fired furnaces and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be another alternate that you can choose, do you want to spend the money or not spend the money? But because, talking with Lucas about this, it seemed like a reasonable thing to try to do, since, the city controls its own electrical. And what else is there? It's reflected ceiling plan, showing all the lighting and plumbing plan. Everything's called out what it's supposed to be. And everything goes to all the existing stormwater and sanitary and existing electrical, which is close to the site. Questions? Comments?
Yeah.
Mark, I had a question. Did you guys consider putting like the business side of things with the recycling and the trash on the east side of the building? I'm just thinking like, from the parking lot, you're sort of looking at the business.
Yeah, that's why we put the, the fences in front of it, and the trash has to be on that side because it has to be accessible by a truck. So it could be rolled out and then it could be lifted up by a truck and dumped. It seemed like the logical place to put all of that stuff right on that back side. We did look on using on the east side, but that also is sort of like, a lot of people walk along there, and it just seemed like those functions need to be on the pavement and not by the grass and sidewalks.
Is the recycling just for boaters?
I don't think there's a way to enforce that. I mean,
Is that-
generally, Mike, do we currently experience people, non-boaters, using the recycling that we already have?
No,
Yeah, so I wouldn't
but
expect
it's available if someone chooses to.
We put big signage, just,
So people can that.
Oh, yeah.
it can't be denied, but we're trying not to
recycling there for a long
encourage
time.
it from coming up.
Well, I just wonder if that'll be more conducive to people wanting to do it, seeing how it's like right on the parking lot now as opposed to by the marina where it is now on the side here.
It's probably simpler for the drive-by dumpers, yeah,
Right.
although they probably don't recycle anymore.
When it's on the side, it looks like it's really connected to the slips and stuff.
Bill, did you think about putting any solar on it
No,
to help with the electrical?
that wasn't in the program.
You know,
The height was critical.
One of the things that's always a big issue down here is the visual impact for the people who have houses
Yeah.
landside from that. And anything that comes up any high, I mean, you know, the difference between this and this is huge for those people. So we actually reduced the
Yeah, we actually
the
did.
visual impact of the roof line. Because the drainage is going inward and then down through the building, if I'm correct, to the
Storm sewer.
to the storm sewer. There will be the skylights will stick up, but they're no higher than what exists currently.
That's a
So
big, you know, that.
we're actually reducing the visual impact a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, another question, can you show with your pointer where the bike parks near that is? I'm having a hard time reading, sorry.
No problem. It's right here.
Okay, and,
Next to the green
so
space.
there's loads of room to get by that to get out into the
Yeah,
park?
there's like, which way, walking along here? Yeah, there's always like 8 feet. Cause you can drive a vehicle
I'm
through there.
usually thinking how the park connects in.
That's something that wasn't part of the program for this project. Cause we come here, you come up here. We did talk some about that, you know, there's no sidewalks around here. And it's like how nobody wanted to go into, well, what happens with the rest of the park? How does this connect? So that really wasn't, it's sort of isolated, and that wasn't part of the program. How that would connect.
you can see it in the 3D, can't you? I saw the bike racks in the 3D early on.
You know,
The initial, on the.
Yeah, it was one of the first shots
slide,
of the. Somewhere where
Yeah, well, they're not quite in the right spot.
yeah, but
They're supposed to be pulled over here a little bit more.
yeah, so they're. So they'll be close enough
Yeah.
that they can be used. for
They're
the
not
park.
in the driveway in the final picture, right?
Also, I had a question. I know there was some discussion about a boater's lounge and not so many washers and dryers.
Yeah, that was,
That just got thrown out.
yeah, that was never, nobody ever said go with that.
Okay.
There were a lot of ideas that came up like after, you know, the program was set and a lot of the design had been done.
The theory there is that if you're on your boat and you don't want to be on your boat, you can go to town. You know, there's plenty of places to get out of the rain. You go to Bar Harbor, you can go to Pearson's, you go to all the places that we don't really need to have people lounging around in Michael's office space any more than we do already.
It's mostly you, Bill. so.
We like lounging in my.
Do we have a estimate in terms of budget?
The basis is $500,000.
And do we have a plan B in case we run into problems?
Not really. We're gonna see what it's really gonna cost, but it will cost more than 500.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's been discussed many times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we have a ceiling?
I have not been told of a ceiling. So we're going to see what this is going to cost.
Well,
Because it's
if
very
it comes
hard.
back and everybody's jaw hits the table, then we'll.
Do what
Well,
we have to do.
either run away or recruit for it. We keep kicking the can down the road. Sooner or later, we're gonna do something.
But we'll see. I mean, the construction costs have softened a little bit from a year or so ago. Some materials have stabilized quite a bit and come down some. Labor is still an issue. Labor prices are still high. But it's not as bad as it was a year or so ago, so the timing's getting a little bit better. And the commercial contractors I talked to, they're looking for fall work. A couple of contractors didn't get some jobs they thought they're gonna get, so that's always a good sign. But, you know, we'll see, we'll see.
It's considerably less than when we were talking about replacing the entire building. Now that we were hoping for grants, but political winds shifted. The offers that came from the state to help us out with this came with strings attached that we thought were too odious, and so we said, forget it. So hopefully we don't wind up doing that with this, but.
I just have a question on this, actually, on this rendering. Where are the bushes and cedars and stuff that exist?
Oh,
there?
they're just not in the model.
But can you just
Yeah.
point roughly
would-
where?
They would be,
To the right.
Maybe over here.
Yeah. this
Right in
side
there,
of the-
okay.
yeah, this
Okay.
is all treed in, and I didn't do any of the landscape work
Yeah,
there.
the electric,
fine.
the electrical
We can
boxes
We
are
can get somebody
roughly.
if we have to.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just
that
wanted
was
to be sure
my-
I had.
On your plan, it looked like the electrical boxes were advanced closer to the lake, because usually like they're right next to the building, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty close to,
Yeah.
right? you
Is
know.
that accurate in terms of
Well,
where they're placed?
I
Yeah.
think they're back to the left a little bit.
No, this
more.
is, well, this is where Benchmark Engineering shows them. All the site work is from Benchmark. So they have things pretty much dialed in. So this is where they show them to be. But they didn't give me any trees or anything like that. Well, I may have some trees here. Hold on, let me check and see. Maybe there's, I don't have all the layers on, but I do see I got some trees on there. I think I have them all.
We aren't gonna remove any more trees or anything, right?
No,
Only one there.
well, I think the
On the east side,
the one that's, the one I'm worried about would be this one over here.
that's the one.
This one, I'm really worried about. This one is in the limits of, it's in the limits of construction. Limits of construction come all the way out here. Let me go back to the other window here. The limits of construction are here. You know, so they are, you know, this will be fenced off along here. So everything around this building back to here is within the area of construction. The tree's right there. And so they will barricade around the tree and everything, but with machines driving around, it's gonna compress the earth. You know, we'll put it out as far as we can and still be able to get machinery around the building. But that tree may not survive. And so that may have to be replaced at some point. But it's at risk, you know, it's within the construction zone, it's just reality. But we'll try to save it. We'll pick out some radius, ask experts on how far we should fence it off, and hopefully that will. And we'll make sure that it's, you know, it's fenced properly so that even an errant machine operator won't damage it.
Another question about bikes again. Would it be possible to consider moving the bikes closer towards the parking lot? That's where they'll be coming from, I assume, right? And that way it gives it a little better straight shot from Marina Park, like when we have 300 people there, into the bathrooms, you can see it. You don't have to wind your way around bike racks. You can see what I mean?
Yeah, sure, I mean, if we pull it down into here. You know, it'll be, you know, this is, I think, 4.1 slope or something like that. So to have that, this is relative, it's just 2% coming this way, but we could pull it down into here.
I think you'd be better served to move it closer to the water, because there are actually bike racks for people in the marina, not people in the parking lot. You know, and if you're on your bike, you're going to and from your boat supposedly, as opposed to just the public coming up and parking their bikes, except for maybe to use the bathrooms.
Well, the wheelway's gonna come right by there. Someday.
Are you suggesting that these be permanently mounted bike racks or just a place to put a bike rack?
That's up to the city.
Because the rack we have now out in front of the place we can move that around, right?
And 9 times out of 10, that's occupied by people riding to town, not by boaters. Yep. Boaters' bikes usually end up tied to power poles in the dock or on their transoms, wherever it ends up, so.
You know, there is gonna be a car parked here. This is an active parking space. It's not a good one. But we gave up 3, but we weren't gonna give up the 4th. So
Isn't the 4th where the charging station is?
I believe, no, that's on the 3rd one, I think.
Third
That has
one.
to be relocated.
Yeah,
The
that's
city's going
Doesn't
to
show
show
that.
that.
Do we know where you're gonna relocate
No,
it?
the city has to decide where they want that.
That's not in the budget?
I think I'm sorry,
That's not in the budget?
it's not in my budget, no.
That's, the electrical charging stations are owned by a private company, and so we don't pay for them. So we need to move them, they will,
Can the city just tell them they need to put it somewhere else without like a contractual?
we are in a contract with them right now. And I think it's for another year or two, so it's for this parking lot. So after that contract expires, then we can, you know, say we don't want to continue with them, or we can put them in a different parking lot.
But if we wanted them to move it over 2 spaces, could we?
Yeah, I think
insist
that.
They do that?
Yeah. Sure.
We also talked about a police parking spot somewhere down there. Do you guys remember that? That Kyle had requested that we save some kind of spot for
I
a.
think we talked about
And we
that.
talked about a bunch of different places
Yeah.
and, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's to be determined, you know, because all this asphalt is gonna be all chopped up. We have to attach all sort of existing utilities around, so all this parking lot is gonna be gone.
So you can,
Yeah, that's all has to be replaced, you know, this is all gonna be chopped out. And, you know, especially around the building, and then have to be, you know, redone and then restriped. At that point in time, we'll have to decide, we're gonna mark something specifically for police, specifically for Mike, or whatever.
David?
Just pertaining to the electric charging station, you know, it's a couple of primary spots for mariners, you know, that the charging station is, and that's delegated to people from everywhere. And a better served place would be out on that little island, and that way you could access the charging station from 4 or 5 different parking spots. And not just have 2 designated parking spots that are only for charging, which are the primary ones for the boaters that pay the money for the slips.
So Dave, when we looked at this extensively, when we were looking at where to put electric charging stations, and the spot where the electric boxes are is right there. The electric box there is not one that can serve the charging station, so the cost is cost prohibitive to put them there. So that's why we looked at spots where it was gonna be maximized cost. I know it's not ideal, I understand that the boaters use that lot for the slip holders and mooring holders. But it's also a public parking lot too for people from town.
So that's why if it was elsewhere where you had access from more spots.
Yeah, we looked into it. Yeah, there's other locations we can do in the future, but that's where we're at right now.
Good. Anybody else?
Thank you all.
So, do we need a recommendation? Or just,
Unless there's any
those are our comments, and
comments.
now it's your problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
nice job, Mark. I mean, it's really comprehensive that.
Thank you.
It'll be a nice finished product when we're done with it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, next on the agenda is Ford Park redesign, committee update. I'm the only one on the Ford Park committee that is here today. I think we've got, Karen, and we might have Greg on Zoom. Initially, Tom Graham was part of our little, group, but Tom has gone on to his next adventure. So anyway, there are 2 things that I want to talk about. One is short-term, now-ish sort of a thing, which I don't have a diagram for, but that would be to repave do you have the laser thing?
No, Mark.
Okay,
Mark.
it's not important. So this drawing shows shows a different path for the vehicles. The dotted line to the south of that line is where the current pavement is. And our suggestion is that section from the parking spaces on the west to roughly the sidewalk crossing there, be widened, repaved, striped, and improve the signage so that you can get 2 vehicles through there side by each without contention, which we currently have. So that should improve both safety and traffic flow. And then we'll put a stripe down the middle and designate the right-hand side for people who are staging their boats, and the left-hand side as the traffic flows for the people who are just passing through, which should improve the safety, traffic flow and all that. The other issue with that pavement as it exists right now is it's crumbling around the edges and people drive off onto the grass and that sort of thing. So our recommendation is that we get a design and repave that little section as soon as practical. If we can do it this year, that'd be great. I did talk to Lucas. It's been a while, but he thought that with the DPW doing the parts of that project that they can do with our own staff, we can probably fix that for about 40 grand. I believe that that number is in the current city's budget. We put it in there because we saw this coming, and there you go. That's what I think I'd like to do now. The other part of this, this drawing is conceptual only. It's to put some of the ideas that have been brought up on paper so that people can visualize it, go down, look at it, and weigh in on what we think. Some of the things we're trying to do here is to make better use of the property is the big view. Right now, a significant amount of the green space is underutilized, and it's back on the north side of the traffic, and it's kind of a waste. So this concept shows expanding the green space between the water and the asphalt significantly, making that more useful for both people who want to hang out and have a sandwich, and also for pedestrian traffic from the ferry to town. We'd like to reduce the number of places where people have to cross the traffic to get from A to B. So from the ferry to town, we'd like to run that through that green space and then up along parallel to Irish's. There's some contention on that because some people think having them walk past the kayaks is a security issue. Some of the other things we've done here is rearranged the parking for cars and trailers. I believe this drawing shows a net increase in the number of trailer parking spots, especially along the east side there. And by running a loop around, that enables people to get from the ramp side back in to the facility without having to go out onto Bay Street. Right now, if you want to offload your boat and then park your trailer on this property on the Irish's side, you have to go out to Bay Street, turn left, and then turn left again to get back into the facility. Whereas with a whoop around there, people would be able to just turn left within the property. And so we've got more contiguous green space closer to the water. We've got more trailer parking. This drawing also shows moving the building, which could be done. Then some of the other things that may not be on here would be more accommodation for bicycles. The city is planning at some point in the next maybe 5 years to completely tear up Bay Street from Zoll to Arbor. Is it Arbor at that point?
Judd.
Judd, okay. And yeah, it becomes Arbor at the top of the hill. To redo the, subsurface infrastructure and paving. There is discussion within the community about integrating, as the bicycle path that goes all the way from Charlevoix to Harbor, as we finish that up, incorporating that. So that would be a first place that someone could stop and use the facilities, once they get down to the, street level. There you go. This is not something that is gonna be implemented anytime soon. But the thinking is that when you've got the contractors and the trucks and the plows and everything down there tearing up the street anyway, it would be a good time to revisit, improve traffic flow, make it more, accommodative to the demographics that we see currently in terms of the use. When this was first put in, the kayak craze had not yet begun. And so, maybe strike a balance with, the way that the park is used at this point in time, and there you go. So that is a concept that is floating out there to get the discussion going within the community and, see where it goes from there.
I appreciate that work, Bill. I really advocate your idea of something we could do quickly by moving that pavement.
Yeah, that's been an issue for a while. It's a bottleneck. It's kind of a safety
That is a
issue.
terrible box.
Yeah, and it's not wide enough and nobody knows where they're supposed to be. You know, people come in there and they stop, they get out of their truck and they start taking their stuff out and, you know, getting the boat ready to go. And, you know,
Well, if, you know, when that's done, or maybe even before that, we could dip off on the southwest corner of that and put an unloading area for kayaks, so people could just pull in,
Yes.
drop their boat,
Yes.
and then pull out the park.
yes. There are variations on this theme that would include, I think, I can't read it from here with my aging eyes, but along the south side of the traffic flow, there would be kind of a designated pullout maybe
Yeah.
for people who want to load and unload stuff.
Yeah.
It just, you know, kind of depends on how much of the real estate we want to offer up to asphalt. But unloading and loading for kayaks and that sort of thing, that's obviously another bottleneck there.
Yeah.
So,
That could almost be a gravel area. I mean, if, you know, if there weren't a lot of paving done right away. Just so a car can pull off, because it's always wet in that corner,
Mhm.
be elevated a little bit. Just have a space for a car to pull off, so you could either unload or load.
talking about when we do the current, like the short-term
Yeah.
low dollar fix.
Yeah.
I like this too. I especially like the roundabout, to get people off of Bay Street when they're trying to park their trailer. I think that's a big help.
That is, yeah.
You took out, the plan though takes out a couple trees, I think, at the north side
It
of
does.
that. So I think we will probably get pushback from some homeowners there about view and I think we need to think through how do we soften then that, so they're not looking at more spaces or keeping that in mind.
Mhm.
Cause right now, those homes look at tree trunks and.
Yeah.
And then.
I'd be a fan of like cedar hedge sort of, that
Mhm,
would be very much in character. They would thrive in that environment
mhm.
and they do block view very nicely.
But you don't wanna block the view too much because of some of those
Okay.
houses right on Bay Street where they
I'm
look
just
at.
talking about the line between basically the Graham property and
Yes,
Ford Park.
yeah, oh yeah, I agree with you on that.
And there are some other trees that would there seems to be pretty good agreement that the trees that are right along the Irish building are a detriment in a number of ways. They take up space that we really need for the kayaks and for people to get through there. The root systems are going under the Irish building, which is causing issues for them. So they were put in with the best of intentions to soften the visual impact of the building there, but that may change, and I'm certainly open to landscaping. It's been suggested that we put in like on this drawing, if that's the way we did it, between the building and then just south of that building, put in some sort of a what do you call it, where they put in native plants, that sort of thing, water to catch the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rain garden.
Wetlands.
Rain garden. So that'd be a nice place for this. So there are a lot of
Yeah.
little aesthetic things we could do once we get past the conceptual and that sort of thing.
I appreciate your comment about the roots because I've tripped on them several
Thank you.
times with my kayak.
Mhm.
The new parking spots on the west side, sorry, the east side. Where are they? Are they on the north or the south? of
Right
that?
now, I've got something. Funny you should ask.
There are 8 spots from the north to the
I brought my
south.
pile here.
On the east side, you
There-
show taking out the large tree, which is in there. I believe that's what that circle is with the X.
Mhm.
So you're removing one large tree, which there are no parking spots now. It's just grass and a big rock.
I like that, but that's,
It's the length and the angle of the spots that create more problems. Boats have gotten bigger, pickup trucks are 23-foot bumper to bumper and add a trailer and a triple, maybe just a double axle. I'm not sure you can get it turned around from a 40-foot width to a 25-foot drive as you make the turn into this proposed loop.
now, Bob Thomas suggested that some of the spaces close to, thank you, close to the launch there could be reconfigured simply by changing the angle a little bit, which would make them longer to accommodate the really big boats. He indicated they thought maybe the most we would see of these ginormous, like 40+ foot boats, might be a half a dozen of those on.
You
any
don't see
given
many
day.
of those, but you do see I'm down there all the time, all season long. What you do see are plenty of pickup trucks with double axles and
Mhm.
30-foot boats.
And they,
Mhm.
And they can't navigate. And that's the bigger issue. They have to have a turning radius that accommodates both the boat and the trailer.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that the radius that we're showing there on the, which would be the southeast corner of that center island, is larger and that the road is wider there than what exists currently.
And the parking on the east side, you show them all the same length. Right now, they are not. So you would
That's
extend the first
correct.
8 deeper.
This is just conceptual.
Yeah.
Well, could be, you'd have to designate, especially on the west side of that center island. Put a maximum.
Yeah,
trailer size.
we could have, some spots that are designated for long contraptions and other spots that are designated specifically for shorter ones,
The owners will, clue into that. Some people, even if we put restrictions by signage, somebody will violate it, I'm sure.
And that,
If it's not managed, it'll be.
Work itself
And the
out.
people drive over the parking bumpers as it is.
Yeah.
And park on the sidewalk because
Some
the boat
people's
sticks out
kids.
too far.
Bob had was down there about a week and a half ago, put a piece of tape from corner to corner on one of those parking spaces, and he said we're gonna gain almost 15 feet by reorienting those lines.
Really?
On the west side of, again, the east side of the Ford Park parking. It's a pretty clever idea.
Yeah.
It reduces the number of spaces, but it also accommodates those bigger boat trailers too.
Mhm.
And it still leaves you an option to put a small boat in there as well,
Yeah.
so. So the tape's still there. It was there this morning, so unless it got washed away.
And for example, in that center island there, the corner spots are shorter. And that center sidewalk could be moved hither or yon to accommodate, shorter versus longer and and change the angle. We can tweak this a lot between now and the time anything would happen. David, you had a comment?
This gentleman here had his hand up.
Keith Newbury, I appreciate everything you're doing down here, especially the rigging lane. Cause people even if you're in there for 2 minutes, getting your dock lines out, people are trying to drive around you. You addressed, I have a 25-foot boat, and even my smallest pickup, I have to drive right up to the curb stones. So,
To make that turn.
no, just to park, just to park. So, and I don't leave, once I put my boat on the mooring, I get my trailer out a couple hours later and it's gone. So I don't do that very often. But it's even with a 25-foot boat in a regular cab pickup, you're using that hole. So we oriented the lines to give you a little more distance. But you also, I like the conceptually doing the loop, but you need to think about, a truck and a trailer making it around that loop. And you could have different, size parking, for example, a 19-foot boat and a trailer will fit, on some of the spots. People aren't gonna leave their trailer half hanging out.
Most people.
Most people. So anyway, I appreciate this is good work. It's gonna take some time.
Thank you.
And
That's great.
And, by all means, put thoughts on paper and send them, or, email or whatever and send them in.
Well, there'll be engineering standards. to
Right.
Maximize.
Right, when we get around to doing it, it won't be up to us. We'll have the engineering types, but, David,
Yeah, I haven't been down there enough, like, obviously during the July when it's really busy, but whenever I've launched my boat, I haven't seemed to have a problem doing the turn on Bay Street, traffic wise. So I just didn't know how much you wanna commit that extra space to an extra, more paved, just driving space as opposed to parking space, which is already at a premium there. So I was just wondering if you knew like how, I've never had a problem personally. Have there been incidences where people deal with traffic and somebody gets all mad because they're pulling out and
I'm
looping?
not aware of an
trailer?
actual incident, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I don't know where that, particular thought, originated, but it makes sense to me. And really, the problems that we have at Ford Park are probably 20 days a year,
Right, like most
So,
of the problems in
you know,
this town.
I don't have a problem
30
finding a
days.
place to park, because I don't go down on Saturday afternoon.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
locals don't really go down there
Yeah,
on Saturday.
we learned the patterns and avoid them. Yeah, but when it's, and when it's
When it's
full
maxing out.
up, what are you gonna do?
Mhm.
We can't we can't bring it out of the air, so.
That was just a question. I just didn't know how much of a problem that never seemed
No,
like
no.
a problem to me to be looping out onto Bay Street and back in.
Bill, I just had a couple more things to point out. So one thing this plan does is separate car traffic from trailer traffic. So you avoid the conflicts there. It does add, let's see, what would that be? 6 parking spaces, and I think it's also 6 trailer spaces. The trailers currently that park over by Irish Boat Shop that are kind of moved over by extending that trailer parking along the east property line, and then, of course, the center circle. But more and more people are kayaking and, no parking and no place to put your kayaks. So in this plan, it shows this little bit newer kayak storage concept where they are perpendicular to the building. And so each of these racks here holds 8 kayaks. So this gets us up to 120 kayaks. And does anybody know what we have right now?
76.
Yeah, so that's a huge jump.
Yeah,
And
so
that's something that we've been hearing about for years.
for people who aren't really aware of what she's talking about, right now, the kayak racks are on posts, and there's a little rack that sticks out perpendicular to the Irish Boat Shop. And so 4 kayaks take up like 18 feet of wall. And the idea is to turn the thing 90 degrees so that you've got a rack with kayaks on both sides, 4 high. And you can put like 2 of those in the amount of space where we've got 1 set of kayaks. So instead of having 4 kayaks, you've got whatever, set of 12, 16. So put more boats in the same amount of space, without really much in the way of additional cost or whatever. It's just, you're taking out a little bit of green space that's currently occupied by the trees that we don't like anyways.
So you're proposing to remove all the trees too.
No, I'm not proposing exactly that, but some of the trees are not particularly healthy. They are a tripping hazard for people trying to walk through there. They are getting under the building and so.
Some things are trees. Perhaps as a line item, we could ask our tree board to take a look at those trees and maybe our arboretist give us an opinion.
Yeah.
Of which ones are healthy and which ones aren't.
Before anything happens with this, it'll go to tree board, it'll go to planning commission. We'll probably have
Parks Board.
Parks Board, we'll have public gatherings with free beer maybe, to try to get people to show up. And so at this point, we're just trying to gather the concepts together. Dave?
And I think you'd also be well served to do the similar thing you're doing with, launch slots, is take those racks and put them on an angle towards the water. Instead of just 90 degrees out for the building. There'd be a nice angle to be able to go into your slot and then come out. Instead of just 90 degrees, might be an option to look at.
How many kayaks?
See what I'm saying? So
you have?
you'd come off the water and be able to go into an angled spot and put them on the rack, as opposed to having to go out 90 degrees.
Do we know what the waiting list is for kayaks?
There's 44 names on the kayak list right now.
We take care
On the waiting list.
Pardon me?
So that would take care of it. Yeah, right.
See what I'm saying?
I'm surprised it's not.
Pardon me, Bill?
I'm surprised it's got more than that.
Yeah.
We took 13 names off the list this year. Did a bunch of changes in the kayak rack this year.
Attrition or,
Attrition, yeah, people that just basically got, unfortunately, too old to use their kayak and get it up over their heads and put it on the racks.
the youngsters are going on those foiling boards.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Bill, I guess in the spirit of moving on to next agenda items, what else do you need?
In the spirit of moving on.
Yeah.
I guess what we would need would be a recommendation for for the minor, whatever we want to call the asphalt replacement on the south edge. To proceed with that.
I think we talked about gravel at one point, offering better drainage.
Well, we did for that pullout.
Right. Which we never
In the
did.
corner.
I don't think we did that.
No.
No, nothing.
Right.
Yeah, nothing's been done
I think Lucas thought that gravel might work better than asphalt.
for the pullout, for the
Pull out.
kayak drop off.
Because it'll drain into the ground versus running off the asphalt into the grass.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Like a
It's nice to be able to
pea
separate
gravel
people.
or something like that, that would be a little more friendly on your feet.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I would defer to actual designers on that, but I think that's a good idea, then we should pursue that.
it should be fairly narrow, just to accommodate a car,
Mhm.
because then you can set your boat off on the grass, rather than have to set it on either gravel. or
Right,
pavement.
gravel.
They also are coming up with some pretty cool paving designs that are like a mesh. So that they breathe and drain more thoroughly for something like that, where it'd be easier to walk and used out of different recyclable materials and stuff. So it's semi-impervious to allow water and air to, so the planet can breathe and the water can pass through there and stuff. It'd be worthwhile researching those products.
Yeah.
So Bill, you're looking for a recommendation to
Go forward with,
short term.
the short term, small dollar-ish, upgrade.
I think a consensus vote would be.
Anybody opposed to that?
No, they're definitely in favor.
In favor?
Going forward,
Ambivalent?
for what timeline? You said you hope to get it done this year. It's the middle of May. the season is upon us and you want to close this down to do it. I mean, I realize it's an improvement, but changing the lines, we could do that easily enough, could we not? The parking line?
That'd be something for Lucas and, yeah.
And things that can be done, readily done, that will not encroach upon the upcoming season
That and the pullout for.
Well, it could either be done before the season or in the fall,
or in the
the
fall.
next year.
If it could be done, I mean, the season basically is like July 1-ish, right?
Where do you live?
You know,
Memorial Day.
My season's already started.
I know.
Yeah.
It's already started.
He doesn't come below.
June 15.
I'd like to see the kayak thing done yesterday.
It's already
I mean, that should be a pretty simple
The
fix.
pullout.
The pullout, we've been
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the pullout really should.
Yeah, just to get something in.
That's easy, right?
A car can do it. The rest of it, I don't know. I mean, it's a bigger project, so I don't know, May, right?
Well, not doing it is always an option. If we wanted to, drop some pea gravel in there, Lucas might be able to just do that with his own folks.
Or are you talking about for the kayak bill? or-
Yeah, so
Or are you talking about so you can rig? Are you talking about making another lane so
Kayak.
people can rig or the kayak?
Kayak thing. I
Kayak
think,
thing's easy.
I'd be surprised if we could have another lane
I think so too.
before the activity starts.
And it's wet, it's so wet down.
I know it.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, what would you consider it's too late to start a project date? You're to pick one.
I think that project, if we're just gonna do a pullout, is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And doesn't take up a whole lot of time, and they have the tools and the equipment to do it.
Changing
I
the
agree with that, I'm talking about,
Changing the lane is,
He's
that's
talking
kind
about-
of,
Changing the link.
that's down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
That's a-
I think for now, we're alleviating a problem, not a minor problem, but, you know, enough of a problem that it's worth,
We're doing.
you know, putting the pea gravel in, just to have a spot for people
We talked
Take
about
the
it
water.
last year, and then it kind of got
to
lost.
talk about it for a couple of years.
In the shelf.
What I think we want is a recommendation to council, and if the recommendation is to do both, the pea gravel and then the change in the lane, we only can do one this spring and we can get the changing the lane in the fall. We can at least get council to approve the funds for that at the May 20th meeting and see what we get done
Okay.
in the spring. I think that would be, that would be the.
I would move if you want that. but we-
right, so
Request that of
if
council.
that work could be done within, what, a month?
If it's May 20th, the council gives approval to move forward, and you're saying a month, that's
It's
June 20th.
not gonna happen.
That's not gonna
Well,
happen.
the pea gravel?
No, I'm talking about-
Changing the lane.
Well, that's right. I mean, but the approval, we won't interfere with, Lucas and Mike know the traffic down there. They'll make sure they don't interfere with, what's
Yeah.
going on. So if they feel like they can't get the project started until fall, then we'll wait till the fall.
Yeah.
We're not gonna close down that park in busy season.
With our recommendation, council can approve the funding or not.
Approve the funding
Let's do that.
and then your recommendation could include not interfering with the traffic.
Will have Lucas put together a number?
We can work together, staff together when it possible, and present those to council.
I mean, I would say that the season's gonna start on Memorial Day this year. You know, the early season, which is the 27th of May.
Yeah. Well, the gravel, I mean, they can do the pullout in a day or two. I think.
Right.
That's not a big deal.
That's a
I have a question. Do you absolutely feel the rigging lane must be paved, or could it be like a foot of compacted road aggregate, which, you can put a bunch of weight in? And then you're not throwing $40,000 towards something that may be ripped out in 3 years when a bigger plan is done.
I concur with that.
I think as a voter and having been to a lot of launching ramps, it's really unpleasant to be on anything but a paved surface when you're working around your boat. You pick up a lot of dirt, you don't have the shoes for it. I think we should. I would advocate waiting till we can put pavement down, even if it has to be changed. So,
John Baker had a motion to.
oh,
Board, yep.
yeah, to request council to consider funding both of those projects and to do them as timing allows this year.
I'll second.
Victor, can you restate the motion, please?
Yes, the motion is to, first is to complete the kayak fix, which is the pea gravel as what was offered, or some sort of gravel there. And then the second is, part of the motion is to go forward with changing the lane up there. And that would be done as the season permits, so either in the spring or in the fall. And for council to approve the funding for that.
Repave.
Yes, repaving, yep.
So we have a motion and a second on the roll. Roll call.
Bill McCullough,
I get to go last.
who made this rule?
JP made that.
JP's not here.
John,
Not the rule.
Yeah.
Not the rule.
Sharon,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Bill Brown,
Yes.
Bill McCullough.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. So we'll go to council on May 20th.
What's next?
Let's have the fleet update. I believe we have Kristen on Zoom and also Nate Graham in person. So Kristen, I don't know. You're going? Yes.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Hi, Kristen.
Great. Hi, everyone. First of all, it's Sharon, it's great to see you where you should always have a seat at the table. So I'm just gonna sing Sharon's praise for a minute and just let all of you know what she's meant to this event and our organization, raising over $600,000 for the success of the Blessing of the Fleet. So it's great to see her there, and I wish I could be there in person. I will be back in the office on Monday. I am just here today to, as a courtesy, we have spoke. I have nothing to change in the plans that we have requested of Harbor Commission. I just wanted to share with you the events that are planned, and there's an ad that you'll see in the paper moving forward, and let you know that we've really established a successful agreement with the Little Traverse Bay Ferry Foundation. We will be using the actual ferry dock, working with Mike and Captain Chris of the Ferry Foundation. We just feel that that's the branding of that location. It keeps things simple and uncomplicated, as they should always be. And we will be doing our 2 cruises with them at a great partnership for both of us. In fact, we've even scheduled some more history cruises into later in the year, working with the ferry for some other events similar to this, just doing it at a different time. And so I'm just here today to say, we know we have some permits to file with the city, and see if there's any questions or concerns that you all have that you wanted to bring forth to our committee. Anybody?
Nope.
And I should say it's our 12th annual Blessing of the Fleet, and really looking forward to being out there, and certainly have appreciated our early summer season. And I'll turn it over to Nate if he has anything.
We're really excited. This is going to be our most beautiful year yet, as we're planning extra fun with the NMs. We're really excited to be celebrating their 90th birthday with several other people in this community. And long story short, we hope that everybody attends, whether it be your own boat, out on the dock, and or in every other which ways. We're kind of making this a bigger, more fun thing throughout the week and throughout this whole season. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you for having us.
Where are the NMs gonna be on the dock?
No, they're not gonna be all at the end of the dock. Albeit we'd love to be able to get them all together at some point, some way, someday. That hasn't come entirely to fruition yet, albeit we've had lots of people from not only Walloon with the 17s come into the conversation more recently.
10 years ago, we did it at the Shoppers Dock, which was awesome.
It was amazing.
That was
And
great.
we love,
It was super cool.
That was,
Yeah, it was a good look.
we thought to be able to
Mr. McVicker is the only man in the city that has sailed on every one of them.
Nate, I have an idea that we'll talk offline. but you might have explored it already, but
We all love sharing ideas and you guys are blessed to have her, so please.
It's really great to see how this event has grown over the last 12 years. And went from a one night event to now a week. And to see the amount of boats on the water. I remember 4 or 5 years ago that it was storming and we didn't think a boat would go out at all. And there were 30 plus boats out there and I literally cried because I said, wow, this is now a true tradition for Harbor Springs. So I'm glad the tradition continues and we're lucky to have Kanim again as our flagship boat.
Yep. So thank you all. If you have any questions or concerns that come forward in the next 2 months leading up to the event, please reach out to me at the Historical Society. And thank you for those of you who are also hosts and sponsors of this event. It is the fundraiser, the main fundraiser for the Historical Society, and we all want to keep the lights on. So
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Victor, what's the next line on the agenda there?
Commercial and charter licenses review.
All right.
Quick question.
I just, and maybe I should address it, but I came here to ask a question more protocol wise. I plan on being part once again of the blessing of the fleet with my Bertram, but it's my Bertram's 60th birthday. So is it appropriate is to have a banner on the boat, 60 year or some type of banner? Or would that be contrary to the spirit of the event? So Nate, somebody needs to, if it's contrary to the spirit of the event, I get it.
I think if you gave Kristen a call, Kristen can help you walk through that and what would be appropriate and not.
I would.
Decorating your boat was usually up to the.
Yeah.
No, it's a great idea. Really
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
As long as you don't make it all about you.
No.
No, you don't. No,
Yeah,
I-
we do want to encourage you to decorate your boat. So I would be happy to share with you what we do so that it is in balance. And thank you for just respecting the spirit of the event for our organization. I'd be happy to help you make that look appropriate. So thanks for thinking of that.
Congrats on 60 years.
Item F3, is a review of commercial and charter licenses. In my memo here, I noted that we have 3 charter license applications, Pointer Boat, and then the Thomas C. Blank and Jim Spencer, which are fishing. And we also have a commercial, which is Wallster Marine, but also IBS. I forwarded you the email they sent, when the packet went out, they also sent.
All right, well, Jimmy and IBS are both here, so let's let them go first. Irish's, welcome. Thank you.
It's just a standard, I mean, it's, so really what we're really reviewing here is just our rules and regulations allow for, I think, up to 5 charter licenses.
5 charters.
And 1 must be fishing and one must be the,
And
other.
3 are y'all come.
And then we don't have a limit on commercial licenses. We are reviewing them as they come to the Harbor Commission to see if Ford Park can handle them. So right now we have IBS Wallstrom as a commercial, so two licenses.
I have no concerns with any of the particulars. I'm aware of all of the applicants and I have no problem with any of them.
You agree with that?
Everybody's
I
good.
like the name of your charter, Jimmy.
Thank you. Do you need any action from us?
Just consensus that you're okay with me issuing these licenses.
Are there any other applications?
We don't have any as of today. We
And
probably will get 1 or 2 more, usually in June.
Will you get one from the outfitter?
We usually get theirs by June. Yeah.
Is that early?
Don't get me started.
Yes.
Don't get me started. Your son and paperwork.
In terms of.
Right.
commercial.
I understand.
We don't have any from 45 degrees. We don't have anything from Edgewater. Anybody else that has used it in a commercial fashion? Okay, so do we have a plan afoot? Is someone going to manage who uses it and who doesn't use it? We have a plan for that? Is Bob empowered to do that? Is an officer going to be doing that?
What do you mean by,
People that don't have a license that use it in a commercial fashion.
Yeah,
If
well-
we're going to manage it, we ought to manage it.
as we did last year, yes.
Well, let's hope not. We didn't manage it last year.
We did, we actually met with that individual who was not using it, and then when we've asked for specific names of people who are violating, no one. I mean, I sent letters out to all the potential violators, didn't hear back from them, they weren't seen down there again, so. When you say we didn't manage it, we responded to it. Whether it's without having someone present there all the time, that's why we have Bob there, it's really hard to know who's doing it, so I mean. Just like with any of our other enforcement parts of city, you know, when we're not there, it's hard to know what's going on, so we do rely on citizens to report it, so.
Kind of catch me if you can.
Well, that's how it is.
John
with
and I have been
most.
down there a lot, and that's part of the problem.
But we do, last year we did, you know, have a discussion with one of them who didn't pull out a license, and they did pull out a license afterwards, and then we sent letters out to other ones.
Okay.
So, they know what they should be doing, if they're violating it, you know, they will get in trouble for it, so.
That's the other one that we talked about in terms of the redesign, a commercial lane as well as a recreational. Okay.
Bob is gonna be down there quite a bit more this year.
Good. I
He's
see a
gonna be
spot
down there
on-
Probably, he's gonna be
He has
down
a
there.
little box called Bob. You know.
Yeah, saw that.
He said he doesn't want to be in a box, so that'll be entirely up to him. But he does plan on starting probably mid-June. Around the 13th and 14th, and we're gonna try to get him there every weekend beyond that. And he also plans on being there. He has not heard from the people at Blessing and Fleet yet, and Bob can't make that because he's involved, not Blessing and Fleet. Boyne Thunder, the powerboat event. I'll have one of my staff down there to help Mary Jane out. Yeah. And Bob did a great job for us last year.
Yeah.
You did.
We good?
I think we're good. Adjourn.
Anybody else?
One question, and it may have been settled already. This came from you, Victor, from Lane Shea about his request. I never saw a follow-up to that. He wanted to be able to trade wells or slips here. You got a bigger boat or a smaller boat? Remember that?
He was trading moorings, I think is what his question was,
So
yes.
he wanted to trade. I never saw a response. I mean, I never saw a follow-up, what we did or didn't do. Because
Never
we said,
got back to
Never
me,
got-
never got back to Victor.
Never got back to us on.
I think
Never
Victor
got back
sent
to
him a
you?
response saying, well, you're welcome to come to a meeting or discuss it further, but
so
Yeah.
That was a while.
we're not going to let, at this juncture, it hasn't been discussed any further. Did you get a copy?
Is that the one where, someone like inherited their dad's boat and wanted to inherit the mooring too?
Well, kind of, sort of. So I got a different boat, wanted to keep the mooring, didn't want to get on the list, and it was a nice lengthy letter, and
No, I think, he would like go from a 300 to a 200 or
there
something.
you go.
No, I think he got his answer and our rules cover that situation.
So.
he wanted to go from a 2 to a 300 to be able to put his boat on his dad's buoy, but if.
Without getting
on the list. Okay, that's good.
Maybe I'm a little late asking this question, but I thought you said there's 3 charter applications plus a commercial application. So
3 charter plus 2 commercial, because it wasn't, the
2
IBS, came after.
Okay, so that's the total of 5.
Yeah, that's total.
Okay.
You might be crossing up two things.
Yeah, no.
We allow, in our rules, 5 charter licenses.
Right.
Okay, the commercial license that IDS and Wallstrom have is not the same thing. That's a
Yeah,
different
separate.
thing.
Okay.
Got it, got it. Thank you.
Happy to help. Anybody else? 5:22 in the afternoon, it's time to go.
One last thing, if I may.
Oh, speak up.
Thank you, I was trying to. I got a hold of Victor, and thanks to Victor and Michael, I wanted to have an analysis of our dinghy tags. And Michael got back to it. We have 66 total dinghy tags. Correct me if I'm wrong at any time.
66 moorings and 66 tags available, yes.
17 of which are residents, 29 are non-residents, and 20 are no pay.
They use other vehicles to approach their boat, right?
Exactly. So that's where we stand. I just wanted to make it part of the record when we review the dollars and cents at the end of the year. I'd like to see some sort of differentiation between resident and non-resident moving forward. Just as we do on moorings.
Are you talking about, the fee that is paid for the dinghy storage?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, right now, it's, if you have a mooring, it's one fee. And if you don't have a mooring, it's another.
Correct.
You wanna
But there's
also
no
differentiate
differentiation.
that based on domicile?
Yes, just as we do with mooring balls. So we add that to the record. Thank you.
Give a,
I have no number in mind, just that we
No
should
number.
review it rather than
take a
just,
look at it,
yeah.
not opposed to that.
Anybody else?
Good, good. Thank you, everybody.